Hi, change leaders. I'm Rocky DeLuna, and welcome to my channel, Change Management with 10x Forward. Leading changes can be complex and difficult enough when we're implementing known solutions that have been out there for years or even decades, that have stood the test of time, that we know are going to drive revenue or drive increased brand value or recognition or reputation. But now you add a .ai at the end of that solution and things just get thrown up in the air. If employees were afraid of automation enhancements in the past in your change initiatives, adding the buzzword AI to it could create a lot of unrest and uneasy feelings for many of your employees and confusion for even more. Add on top of that all of the news and headlines that are out there, and it could start to feel like robots are beginning to take over our jobs. I have some really good news to share with y'all in this particular video. This week, I attended the Dallas Startup Week in Frisco, Texas, so just a little north of Dallas. And it was such an eye-opening experience to see the number of entrepreneurs, brilliant minds, and ideas and solutions that are coming out of my home area of North Texas. Instead of sharing a change management model or framework like I have been in the prior videos, today I want to share some of my learnings that I took away from this week, especially as it relates to implementing AI solutions through a change management lens. There were two speakers in particular that really drew my attention for questions that I had and probably you had as well in terms of implementing AI solutions. For example, what are legal implications? What are legal considerations that we should be looking at? And moreover than that, where do you even start? Especially if you or your company have never implemented an AI solution, it can seem daunting. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. I'll start off by sharing what I learned from Robert Taylor in that particular panel. Now, Robert Taylor's an attorney and focuses on AI implementations, and that's what this particular talk was about. In it, he shared a legal risk assessment that he starts off with, and it covered quite a few questions, some of which are, what is the business objective that you're looking to meet by implementing this AI solution? What are some of the inputs and outputs that are going to be going from a data perspective? What are the prompts that are going to be used? How does this impact other workflows so you're not looking at it in silos, and so on? There was actually quite a bit more than that, but I just wanted to highlight some of the things. What I really took away from this particular panel, though, was Rob as a leader in stepping up to doing these AI implementations. So there's three things that I walked away with. The first thing is he was not an AI expert. Now, while he had been working in the tech space for his career, AI was something new that was added for him. And what was really exciting about this is, just like all of us, we don't know what we don't know until we finally do. He stepped up, he learned about it, got involved in it, immersed himself in it, and now he's helping clients implement these solutions successfully, taking into consideration any kind of legal exposure or risk that they may have. The second thing I walked away with is that while change management tends to be a risk-averse kind of industry, AI for sure is not, right? It's growing, it's expanding. And what I took away also from this was all of the questions that we want answers to are not out there. They're not answered yet. We're still learning what questions to ask, and that's okay. If you think about it, it was only November 30th of 2022 that ChatGPT came out into the public. Even though AI has been around for quite a bit before then, it wasn't until then that it ended up in our day-to-day conversations. So lots of questions to ask, lots of answers that we aren't aware of yet. But part of getting started is just getting started, asking questions, looking for solutions. And the third thing tails off of that second thing. The more we learn to use AI technologies in our day-to-day lives as individual consumers or as an organization, the more we learn from it. So if you're like me and you're wondering, where do I even start? There's so much information. You're not alone. Even experts are in that location also, because we're all learning this at the same rate. My biggest takeaway, though, from this particular panel was He got an assignment, he learned it, he's becoming an expert at it as time goes on. And that's really all we can do is jump in there, start working with it, and do the best to learn the things that we need for the solution that we're working on in the moment. So this brings me to the second person that I want to talk about, who I am officially super excited to know that she even exists. Her name is Sol Rashidi. She is a tech leader and has had many accolades. In fact, the MC, when he was introducing her for her keynote, had to turn the page to a second page to continue going down her accolades. One of which is that she's one of the top 50 leaders of women in tech. I will also link her bio as well as Rob's down at the bottom so that you can read more about these two incredible professionals and individuals in this space. So I kicked off this video by asking the questions. You're feeling overwhelmed about getting started implementing AI solutions. There's so much information coming out. How do you know where to start or what's a good place to start? That's where this segment of the video comes in. Sol Rashidi literally wrote the book on how to implement AI solutions. We were all given a copy of her book during the keynote. And this book is called Your AI Survival Guide: Scraped Knees, Bruised Elbows, and Lessons Learned from Real World Deployments. I have not read a book so quickly as I read this book. To give you perspective, we had this keynote, I believe, on Tuesday of this week. It's now Friday, and I'm giving my book report on it. It's been a long time since I did one of those, but it's really exciting to do again. Now, if you're wondering, is this book something that's just going to talk about AI theory and what it is and what kind of an LLM is or an AGI or all of those things are? It is not that at all. It is literally a step-by-step guide approach. She gives you questions to answer so you can determine your strategies. Once you know your strategy, she tells you who to involve as part of the whole onboarding, kickoff, ideation process, all the way to your solution phase. She talks about change management from the very first page. So I'm very excited about that. And one of the things that really stood out for me from Sol's keynote was she addressed change management. She talked about the percentage of projects that work and that fail and how much of it is having to do with people dependency. We have to bring people along. The book promises a few things. It promises to not just give us theory, but it promises to give us actual application that we can use to just get started, which again is the most important thing. You got to start. So this reminded me of one of my favorite shows, which probably many of you have seen, which is Schitt's Creek. And in that particular show, there's a really famous scene that I'll play next. And this is what I love. In this particular scene, we see Moira Rose telling David to fold in the cheese, and David's asking, what does fold in the cheese mean? Sol literally tells you what fold in the cheese means in this book, as it relates to AI implementations, obviously, not actual cheese folding. But she gives you step-by-step instructions on how to get started, questionnaires that you can ask either executives or sponsors that you're working with, if you're a change leader leading this, or if you're an executive yourself or a tech sponsor that is reading the book, you can go through and answer the questions on your own. And based on that, you can start seeing what type of strategy and approach to use. Next, she even outlines the agendas that you can have for the initial meetings. She goes on to talk about change management and focuses on the types of individuals or personalities rather that you'll be working with, how to spot them, but not just how to spot them and what to do once you get them. She says when to utilize their strengths and when to move them outside of the field of vision so that they don't get in the way of the progress of your AI implementation. I'm also leaving a link to this book on Amazon down below. So if you want to check it, you don't have to search all over for it. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not getting affiliate or anything else like that. It's just a really good resource out there. It's the most clear one that I've found so far. So I do want to share that. I think sharing is caring, but in this case, sharing this might help you be more successful more quickly. And that's what we're trying to do. Through this week and through Robert's and Sol's leadership and what they shared at Dallas Startup Week, I was reminded of one of my favorite books, which is Yes, Please by Amy Poehler. In the book, she starts off by talking about writing that particular book and how she used to talk about it and how she bought supplies to get it done. And then she comes up and says, and I'm paraphrasing here, talking about the book and buying supplies to go write the book and being in a coffee shop thinking about the book is not writing the book. Writing the book is writing the book. And Robert and Sol, both of them showed how getting in there, learning, getting your feet wet basically is how you start learning and building that AI implementation muscle. This is an opportunity and call to action for us to demonstrate our growth mindset. We don't know what we don't know, and sometimes approaching things that way can be a little bit scary. For me, I like to go straight in and take risks and learn from that along the way. Obviously, not looking to fail at anything, but I have a healthy appetite for that. And for as many YouTube videos as I've seen, or articles that I've read, or lectures that I've heard, none of those are actually leading and doing an AI implementation. So doing an AI implementation will be finally doing an AI implementation. But now I've got the confidence that others are doing exactly just that, and they're leaders and excelling in their fields. Next week, we'll continue with our change management series and applying AI tools to help our change management workflows. However, I thought it was really important for me to share my learnings this week with all of you because these are probably questions that some of you are wondering, how do you even get started? How do we know that we're doing it well or not? Again, I'll link to this book down below, as well as Sol's and Robert's profiles from the Dallas Startup Week website. So that makes me wonder, how many of you are writing the book? Have you led an AI implementation already? Leave your thoughts and feedback down below. Have you read this book? Share your experience with us as well. If you found that this video was helpful and you took something away from it, please this video and subscribe to my channel. We'll get started again next week with more change management framework and applying AI tools to accelerate our change deliverables. Until then, I'm Rocky DeLuna with 10x Forward, and see you next time.